Hey everyone. I came back early. Yeah, I saw a lot of things in the comments that were saying, hey man, you're supposed to be off for 9 days. Technically, I kind of was. But I got bored. Yeah, today being my last day of staycation, I decided to go ahead and come back and do the figure I was planning on doing next week. A week early. In fact, I almost came back yesterday. But, yeah, I really wasn't feeling it. But today I'm feeling it. Mostly. It was either that or I just spend my morning playing guitar, the rest of my morning playing guitar. There's only an hour left in the morning here. And probably wind up, I don't know, going to a bar for brunch or something like that. And who the hell wants to be drunk in the middle of the day on their last day of vacation? Besides everybody. So yeah, I would say welcome back to Saturday Morning Toy Tunes, the weekly live stream here on my channel in which we all gather around the modern day campfires, blah, blah, blah. But it's not Saturday. And while it is still morning for me, but not for everybody. And while there are tunes playing, and there are toys. Yeah. Anyway, let's just get into the crux of the thing, right? Lots of stuff happened while I was out, including this. Yeah. Oh, I better check the focus point. Yep, focus point is definitely off. There we go. Back to where it needs to be. So let's check out what happened here to poor old Lockheed. That's right. Lockheed took I would call it a shelf dive, but it was a shoulder dive off of my Colossus premium format over here a couple of days ago, and I was like standing right next to it when it happened. And the fury, the unbridled rage that something so unfair could happen to somebody as sweet and innocent and deadly as Lockheed was really frustrating to me. And it made me realize that of the 10 premium format X-Men figures that I have on display over here, only 5 of them are now mint. All the rest are broken, have suffered some sort of mishap. Yeah. A lot of it has to do with stuff falling off that shelf that's above them, so I need to do something about that. There are some big changes for the display coming up one way or the other in the future. The reasons for which, not the least of which, is that I may have to sell this house and move. Yeah. May divorce be with you. And one of the things that I'm finding is that a judge, to keep things simple, will say, you gotta sell all your property and divide whatever's left. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, but enough about sad shit. Let's talk about happy shit. And I'm gonna start with the Skeleton Crew trailer. Did everybody see that? It looks to be everything that I hoped that it would be. I'm pretty happy about it. I can't even find anything wrong with it whatsoever. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun mocking the people who are destined to hate it, because I almost guarantee that there will be some hate. Because Star Wars fans are going to be Star Wars fans, and they're going to behave in a way that's not really fan-like. So, or maybe it is fan-like. Maybe that's what fans are these days. I don't know. That's why I call myself an enthusiast. I don't like to be lumped together with fans. So that was the big thing that happened with me this week, apart from the release of Alien, I almost said Covenant, which is actually the name of a movie I was trying to think of for like a whole day this week. And I resisted the urge to look it up, and it just finally came to me. I mean, I could have very easily cheated and looked it up, but I was determined to think of it on my own, and now my subconscious did it. No. I'm talking about Alien Romulus, which was the ultimate fan love letter to all things Alien. Every single Alien movie that has come before has received some sort of love from that film, and I enjoyed it immensely. Some things that I was like, okay. One thing in particular in the third act, and I'm not going to say it because my mandated embargo on spoilers remains at 2 weeks on this channel, so I'll have to wait another couple weeks, a little bit less than a couple weeks, to say anything about it. But let's see who's here. Did anybody show up? 20 people. Actually, that's surprising considering it's middle of the day on a Sunday, last day of everybody's weekend. I'm really shocked there's 20 people here. Thank you for joining me. Who's here? Mike Games. Wow, first out of the gate, Mike Games. That has never happened. Strange how things can change with just an hour or two difference in the release time of a video, right? Welcome aboard. I hope you and Iris are doing well, and the kiddos. Universal Key was also here. Is also here. Maybe was. I don't know. You still here? Let me know. Yeah, to an extent. Again, mostly I was just bored today, but that's a form of missing you, right? What the what, Steve? Oh, Steve. What the what, Keith? Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's happening. Bitter Troll is here as well. What's going on in Tennessee, my friend? I may be visiting Nashville soon. Not sure how soon. Could be a month, could be 6 months, could be a year. I don't know. But I've got a friend in Nashville that I haven't seen in decades. So I really want to meet up with him and his wife and see how the kids have grown, all that good stuff. What happened to 9 days off? Well, it's been 8. I've had 8 days off, technically. I did have to interrupt my week on Tuesday to crank out that Darth Vader video, which received ho-hum attention from people. I'm not sure what happened there. I really expected more views on that. Last I checked, I think it had hit 10,000. Was it 10,000? I think it hit 10K, which is not slouchy, but for a Vader video, for a Return of the Jedi Vader video, I expected more. So I'm not sure if somebody else scooped us on that and got their Vader video out, so everybody got their Return of the Jedi Vader first looks from somebody else, or what. But you know, it is what it is, and I'm gonna console myself with the 170 some odd thousand, 180,000 views that the Deadpool posing video got. And there's another one to follow. I'm gonna crank out another one tomorrow morning, I think, with just poses, no commentary, just like nine different poses, just to see how people feel about that. So yeah, I guess I did miss you, but you're in the pool? This is funny. This is a funny exchange. I was reading this right before. And this, bringing it home. Good job, Christopher. Loving it. Oh, God. Yeah, procrastination. I legitimately am procrastinating from cleaning my Detolfs in my bedroom. They desperately need it. Because in the wintertime, I run a humidifier in that room. And what happens, the humidifier actually, apparently, you don't see condensation forming on anything, but what I've noticed is that the condensation on the glass that you can't see still attracts little bits of dust and stuff. So I've really got to clean that off. It's needed to happen all summer long, and I'm finally going to get around to it today, eventually. I did hit the button twice. Okay, good. Thank you for reminding me. Definitely Goonies vibes. I don't think that was any secret. I saw elements of E.T. there. I saw elements of Explorers there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I really do. Yeah. And I'm not just saying that because I know things. Yeah, you should see it, dude. You should see it. Yeah, you're permitted. But like I always say, talk about the things you love. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I thought you were in that area. I wasn't entirely sure, but yeah, if I do, then I definitely will. When I do. Oh, somebody recognized the t-shirt. Yeah, cool. Volbeat has become, unexpectedly, one of my favorite bands. I would put them in my top 3. I listen to them more than almost anybody. I think I listen to them more often than Ghost now. Yeah, in fact, I was really surprised when I walked into, like, the day after I got this shirt, I put it on and I wore it into a Target, and the guy that was greeting people at Target was just like, hey, great shirt. You know, so apparently they have fans. There, now we can see the comment. Yeah, I've got friends that I haven't met in all kinds of places. A lot of them in Canada, so maybe I need to get up to Canada. But which city? I feel like most of them are in Toronto, but in or around Toronto, but we'll find out. It's another Vader release, and one was recently released, and I'm looking at it right over here in my Detolf to my left. Yes, I get it. But this one's different. In fact, I asked them, do you want me to get a shot where I put the Obi-Wan Vader, the Empire Vader, and the Jedi Vader all in the same shot, or at least get similar close-ups of all the different helmets, just so people can see the differences in the armor and the helmets and what have you. But they opted for expediency over, you know, a little bonus, something like that. Yeah, it does, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Somebody brought up, I think it was Steve Nara in a message to me yesterday, brought up the surprise of seeing Suburban Star Wars. And to be honest, when all of that suburban environment in the trailer just washed right over me. I accepted it immediately and didn't even question it, didn't even marvel at it. I was just like, yeah, okay, that tracks. And again, I don't know if it's because I read the screenplay or what, but yeah, and knew that it was going to be based on old school coming of age teen dramas from the 80s. So that fit. But it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't understand why they waited so long to release it. I think it could have been done last holiday season even. I know that they did the reshoots in January of 2023, but which should have given them plenty of time to release it by the end of that year. So maybe there was something that gave something away. I don't know. And is it just me, or do you? Who else? Raise your hand. Who else thinks that those X-wings that were flying overhead in that one shot? Who thinks that one of them contains Carson Teva? Is piloted by Carson Teva? Who thinks that? I'm saying nothing, but who thinks that? How many Hot Toys in total do you own and have? Which one? How many do I own, or how many do I have? Because I have several here that aren't mine. They belong to my employer. But in my collection, who the hell knows? It's a lot. It's a lot. In this room alone, there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 just here. 4 more on the desk. 5 more on the desk. There's a Deadpool back there that you can't, he's out of focus. And I think, so at least 25 in this room alone. At least times 2 in that, in the other room. And wow. 4 times 3 is 12, times 3 is 36. Add another, about 50 in the bedroom. Over 100. Over 100 that I own. And how many are in the house? Sky's the limit. I don't know. I need to send a lot of them back. Skelly Crew looks fun. I wasn't sure if it was going to interest me when it was announced, but I liked the trailer. Yeah, me too, man. The music feels loud today. Let me know if it's overpowering, and I'll turn it down. George AM is here. I'm not sure if I've seen that screen handle, that YouTube handle on this page before. If it's your first time, welcome. If it's not, welcome back. Oh, that's a wise decision, especially given the complaints in certain circles of being inundated by content, which is just a great problem to have. I would much rather have too much Star Wars and MCU content than too little. There's nothing's compelling you to keep up with all of it, and you only really need to watch the stuff that interests you. All of it interests me, though. I can shift gears. Not everybody can, and I get that. Oh. Yeah, who knows how long this is going to be. I'm totally winging it. Are you talking about my living room? Because there aren't 40 figures in my living room. There are 6, 9, 12, 13, 15, I think. This is my dining room. This would, in a normal person's household, this would be my dining. This would be the dining room. But I am not normal people. Okay, well, welcome back. Yeah, it's something. Yeah, one of the things that I told myself I was going to do while I was on this staycation was to clear all the clutter off this desk and make it an actual reasonably functioning working environment. And dudes, seriously, Mando Kenobi is still sitting in the exact same spot that he was left. That's how seriously I took this break from work-related stuff. I just didn't want to touch anything 6-scale. I failed at that utterly. I like day one, I think I immediately went back and I had a DX-19 Batman sitting back there with, like, laying down on a shelf. He'd fallen over, and I had the Batpod. Like, legitimately, the Batpod was on the floor. So I was like, this won't do it all. So I cleared off what passes as a coffee table in my living room, not right now. I cleared that off. And I set up the Batpod with Batman. I made it a solid point to actually get Batman. I wonder if I've got a photo here. I think that I do. Let's see. That's not it. Huh. Let me do a quick search. I straight up did a posed up the DX19 on the Batpod. I know that there was a comment on the Joker, the imposter version Joker that was recently released by Hot Toys. I straight up did, there was a comment on there that said something about you can't pose the DX19 Batman on the Batpod without breaking it. And I was like, all right, somebody hold my beer. Like literally, I was drinking a pumpkin ale. And let's see. Yeah, there it is. And it's, now while it's a silhouetted shot, I think that you can tell on this shot that I'm about to present to you all. There we go. Sorry, apologies again for me just being so unbelievably bad at StreamYard. And I think a lot of places, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, you can in fact pose up the DX19 in a very respectable fashion on the Batpod without breaking it. And another comment was made about it, about the fragility of the Batpod, that if you touch it wrong, it's going to break. Dudes, this Batpod that you're looking at, right? Look, there's the pumpkin ale. You can legitimately see the pumpkin ale sitting right there in the left of the image. Told you. But there's like this Batpod, legitimately, this very Batpod that you're looking at right here, took a plunge off of the table in the video studio. Seriously, and is 100% intact. Nothing broke off of it. Now, I don't recommend that you try that at home. And yeah, you can also see the tumbler back there, because in addition to playing with the Batpod, I also dragged out my tumbler, which has been sitting in the box since Sideshow sent it to me many, many moons ago. And yeah, it's, I mean, I look at it, you just really need to take a lot of time, do a lot of work with it, do a lot of futzing. And a lot of it has to do with, I'm hoping you can, just let me check here really quick. Yeah, you can get a pretty good shot of me. You have to do this thing where you pose it up. You have to pose it off the bike. And then set it down on the bike while holding it. And then pull the figure off, make whatever adjustments you've just determined that you need to make, then put it back in place, holding it there. And then start with the legs. Get the legs spread out nice and wide so you can get that butt as close as possible to the seat. I should do a posing video on this, but I'm not gonna. And then make adjustments by rotating the legs, rotate those feet, just get everything perfect. Use reference, put up the Dark Knight or the Dark Knight Rises, whichever you prefer, on your TV while you're doing it, and just get reference to what he looks like. I've seen other images of and other videos of people who've posed up their Dark Knight Batman and said, yeah man, that looks great on the bike, but it didn't look great. This looks great to me. Also, I did notice in my research that one reviewer who will remain unnamed said something about how putting him on the bike like this and having to tilt his head up like that really accentuates the long neck that it appears to have, that the figure appears to have. I know there were some notes about that from collectors. But if you mess with the cape and pull the cape up the neck, you can hide that. You can trick it, and it looks totally fine. The only time you can still notice the elongated neck is if you're looking at it from below. And I don't know that this is a figure, a vehicle, and a figure that you need to be looking at from below. If you're going to pose it up and put it on display, it needs to be at its very highest point. It needs to be at eye level of where you're going to be viewing it most. Myself, I'm just going to keep it on the coffee table. So if you ever come over, that's probably the first thing you'll notice. But yeah, it looks really good, right? I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to see if I can't. I also noticed that the took a bump. I also noticed that the tumbler, rather, has. I'm sending this thing to myself right now. Sorry, I can't talk and I can't think and type in my phone number at the same time. There we go. So I'm sending this to myself so that I can actually have it on screen. But as I was playing with the tumbler, there we go. Let's open that now. As I was playing with the tumbler, I found I've noticed one thing that I prefer about the tumbler is when it's displayed, when you can view it from behind. It looks so good. Those big ass beefy tires, that motor, all that stuff that's going on in the ass end in general, the flaps. Oh look, there's a dog hair. Yeah, that's fun. There's dog hair everywhere. Look how dirty. And that's, just to give you an idea of how big it is, that's how big it is on my couch. That's the chaise lounge portion of my couch that tumbler is sitting on. Do you want a better version of that? You want a better idea of how big this thing is? Who has not seen the tumbler? Who wants to see the tumbler, like, in my arms? Hang on. That's how big it is. There. It's freaking huge. I totally knocked one of the mud flaps off, but that's fine. Yeah. Anyway, moving right along back to the comments. We've got Keith. Some people have wine cellars tell you he has a figure cellar. It's true. I think you've seen it, right? Have you been down there? Or did the spiders keep you away? Marlon Braswell joins us from Texas. What's up, dude? Welcome back. Thank you very much for the compliment on the Batpod shot. I was just laying there, yeah, drinking pumpkin ale and... Yeah, so anyway, getting back to the reason behind that whole post, my pledge to stay away from 6 scale stuff lasted a whole 24 to 48 hours, somewhere in there. It's like once I was freed of the obligation of having to do things with 6 scale figures, I immediately wanted to do things with 6 scale figures. Weird, right? Yeah. It reminds me I need to fix my Batpod light. Stopped working, unfortunately. Well, that should be no problem for somebody like you. I think you've got some skills. And I'm learning some of those skills. And yeah, that reminds me, we need to get to work on this bad boy, right? For those who can't see. By that bad boy, I mean a completely gutted Hulkbuster from Avengers Infinity War. Pose it off the bike. First things I could have known yesterday before I tried with me. Same thing. Yeah, same thing. It's, if you try to pose it on the bike, you are inviting catastrophe. It doesn't matter which bike. Unless it's the Tron Light Cycle, which that thing comes pre-posed. That figure comes pre-posed. It's like a statue with a movable head and a replaceable leg and that kind of a thing. Oh, Lane Kramer's here. What's up, dude? I know you posed up Kenobi in the Return of the Jedi Vaders. Did you feel any differences between them when posing? No. In fact, there might be a little bit more wiggle room in the legs because the codpiece on the Jedi Vader is smaller than the one on the Rogue One and Obi-Wan Vaders. But it isn't much. In fact, I used the same script that I used for the Kenobi Vader and just made adjustments as I needed to. And I didn't have to make that many adjustments to the Jedi version when it came to posing and articulation. Yeah, again, they wanted to get that video out in a hurry, and I didn't have a whole lot of... Well, they gave me plenty of time, but I needed to get it done quickly. I wanted to get it done quickly, so I just drew up the script from the Kenobi Vader, and I used that, making adjustments where they were necessary. And I didn't have to make very many in the posing section. It wound up being the same. I sat here with the figure in my hands. Okay, that arm will go out this way 90 degrees. It'll go this way so many degrees, blah, blah, blah. Made adjustments as necessary, and then went with the same verbiage. I'm an everything guy. Yeah. I mean, you could accuse me of being a butt guy, but then you mean my wife. Really angry with her today. Really angry with her today. So that probably won't be the last time something like that slips out. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You can have too much 6 scale. You can have too much of a hobby. You can have too much of something you love. Looking at you, Pumpkin Ale. Just kidding. I don't have any out here. In fact, I don't have any pumpkin ale in the house because I drank it all. Went through a case of pumpkin ale in a week. Yeah. Without help. Nelson Mendoza's here. What's up, dude? That's a net handle that I really enjoy. Oh, yeah, I think you're going to be waiting a long time for that. A long, long time. I don't know. Maybe now that he's doing licensed 6-scale stuff, the, what's his name? Just. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. Do I have anything coming in that I'm really stoked for, Terry? Yeah. A settlement on my lawsuit. Now, what else? Just let me call up my list here, which I sometimes have to do when I'm doing this. Let's see. Oh, that's right. I use it different. I have to use Google Chrome when I'm doing these live streams because you can't do them with Safari for whatever reason. I'm not sure what that is, but let's just look at what I've got coming. I've got, oh God, I'm looking forward to Thrawn, but I think definitely the number one answer when asked that question remains the Sand Trooper and Dewback. Yeah. Looking at all the rest, and I don't have that many on pre-order that I can see here, but yeah, Sand Trooper and Dewback I'm really stoked for. Mandalorian Super Commando is pretty cool, but I've got close to that right here with the Mando 1 Kenobi. Oop, lost my thread. Kit Fisto is going to be amazing, and of course General Grievous. Did we talk about General Grievous? I'm thinking we did. Droideka is going to be cool, but yeah, I think that my answer must remain. I think my answer must remain Sand Trooper and Dewback. I've wanted that for a long, long time. In fact, that was one of my top 5 that in a video that I made a long time ago in which I said I was going to quit collecting. A liar. Yeah. Lane, watch first look at it. You just could not wait order to Jedi Vader from Hong Kong. All right. It's worth the wait. Yeah. I don't know that it's worth spending the extra cash to get that one early. It's a great figure. I think it's perfect in every way. I noticed immediately when I opened it the differences between the prototype and the final product. Yeah, I love it. But now I'm not one of those. I almost said obsessed, but that some people could interpret that as being unkind. I'm not one of those Vader aficionados who recognize the first time I ever met. Oh, what's his name that does the voice of Darth Maul and also did the voice of Starkiller? I can never remember names for people who are tuning into this live stream the first time. I'm terrible with names in a pinch. I'll remember it as soon as I hit stop on the live stream. Whitwer, Sam Whitwer. That's it. Got it. First time I met Sam Whitwer. Only time I met Sam Whitwer. He immediately, after introducing himself, yeah, you need no introduction there, bro. But he dragged me over to the case that contained the Sideshow, I think. Oh no, it was the Hot Toys Vader. It was the Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back Vader. And he immediately started pointing out all the inaccuracies on the Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back Vader. That guy can do a deep dive Star Wars. I have so much respect for his Star Wars fandom. The only person apparently who has ever out Star Wars Dave Filoni. Yeah, seriously. But yeah, this Jedi Vader, great stuff. Again, I don't know that it might be worth it to you, but it definitely wouldn't be worth it to me to pay that extra amount of cash to get it early. Yeah, I know. This is a new name. Terry, if there was one Marvel character you could force Hot Toys to make, who would it be? Well, the answer used to be Moon Knight. And I'm assuming that it doesn't have to be, now that we've got Hono, it doesn't have to be MCU based. So, I don't know. Beta Ray Bill. I'm dying for anybody I'm dying for Sideshow to make a Beta Ray Bill statue. And if Hot Toys did a Beta Ray Bill, and if they're going to do a Thor, it would take a little bit of extra effort to do a Beta Ray Bill. Yeah, I would love to see that. Yeah, thanks, Gabe. I don't know how many poses I'm going to do. I do have this very same figure. I have it posed up on a shelf back here. I was going to say that maybe I'll break him, take him down, and bring him over here so we have at least one extra pose. But it's about as basic as it gets. He's legitimately standing there in a museum pose holding his double-bladed sword looking menacing. So, probably not a very inspiring pose. Yeah, a lot of people excited for Dark Empire Artisan Luke. I myself, I don't want to say I'm not excited about it. I'm just, it doesn't mean anything to me. I read Dark Empire. I enjoyed it. But it didn't have any staying power. None of the Legends books had any real staying power with me. Really enjoyed the X-Wing series. Wraith Squadron was a super cool idea, but yeah. Yeah, looking forward to that one myself. No. God, no. No. I've had enough FaceTime with that figure. It's a great figure. It's a lot of fun. And fans of Deadpool are sure to get a lot of joy out of it. I do not count myself among fans of Deadpool. I've never quite got the book. I never quite got into the character. I think he's funny. I recognize his value, but he's not for me. He's not for me. In fact, it was like, man, the video that, the short video, the one that I was just talking about that has almost 200,000 views now, I got called out for not calling the boot knife a boot knife baby knife. Whatever, dude. It's like the one time I got called out for calling a blaster a gun. Oh, man. Fans. 9 figures from Peter from wow. That's impressive. That's really one of the big ones for me, man. Yeah, but I was, yeah, I think that was in my top 5 most subconsciously requested figures. And one that I predicted was coming. People were just like, why is there no Empire Chewie? Why is there no Empire Han? And the whole time I've been like, the reason there's no Empire Chewie is because they want to do it right. And I feel like that comment was, or that a position was justified now that we've seen it, and it looks, for all intents and purposes, like it's going to be right. Thank you. That's exactly what I was going for. Hysterical as always, my friend. I already got my Kenobi Vader and waiting on Return of the Jedi Vader and pre-order Battle Damage Vader. Okay. Starting to think you like Vader. I'm not getting that Battle Damage version. I'm not getting the Jedi one. Unless it's, I don't know, unless it gets donated to me or something. But I don't need more Vaders than I have. I have Empire Vader and I have Kenobi Vader, which has enough battle damage on it for me. That being said, I think it looks great. I mean, I love what they did with the cape. You're giving the cape the design of the of half the helmet. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking. And I guess a lot of that, the tertiary characters, secondary characters like Beta Ray Bill, will be something that will depend entirely on the success of the primary characters and how well those figures sell. None of us has access to the numbers, so no one will really know, and then therefore be able to predict just how successful those things are. Louise is here. What's up, Louise? Adam Doom. Endgame Thanos will always have a special place in my heart. Yeah, man. Just in general. I mean, I got and I loved. I still have the Infinity War Thanos downstairs, And one of my favorite photographs that I've done is of that Thanos with the I totally riffed on a Frank Frazetta painting and did an image. Let's see if I can dig that one up while I'm throwing images up on the screen. Wow, I've got that many photos of Thanos, huh? There we go. Let's see this. That's video, that's video, that's video. I'm looking for photos. Nothing, nothing. It's here somewhere, guys. Oh, wow, that's fun. Yeah. Is that it? That is it. Yeah, let's open that. And do a quick share if I can. If I do, in fact, have it in me to do a quick share. There we go. This one. So yeah, this is one of my favorite photos of a figure that I've ever done, and I still have issues with it. First of all, just so everybody knows, the only thing photoshopped in this image is the lights and the stars on the background. I have a star brush that I use, that I made and then I use for all my stars. But the smoke and all that good stuff, I want to say that all of that is in camera. Now, some of this down here may have been done in Photoshop now that I'm looking at it. But, yeah, this stuff. But the issue that I have with this is my selection of hand. I wish I had done the clawed hand. And that's it. And the other issue is that I wish that I'd done this pose with the full armor. I think that it's topical. I think that the image works well as it is because this was what Thanos looked like when he acquired all the stones in Infinity War. But I really do feel like I could have done it better, and so I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again with this figure that I have here today, which I should start posing soon. So yeah, there we go. And one of those photos, either the one I do this week with this figure or the one that I just showed you, will wind up being in my photo gallery show that's going to take place next year at Webster University. So if you're in St. Louis in September of 2025 and want to check out a gallery exhibit of the best of my figure photography, yeah, let me know. I'll make sure you know all the details. The wraiths. You talking about the dire wraiths? Don't know what that is. Staycation was okay. It was enough to make me realize that staycations are not my thing and shouldn't be my thing. I got a lot of movies watched. Do you want to know which ones? I made a list. My neighbor's texting me. Oh, mullets. Anyway, the movies I watched this week include Rebel Moon Part 1, Chalice of Blood. Rebel Moon Part 2, Curse of Forgiveness. Oh. Hang on. I think I should take this. Hello? Yes. Hey, Karen. Yeah. Okay. So bring Dobby with me. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. All right, thank you, Kieran. I'll see you then. Have a good week. Bye. Dobby may be getting a brother. I'm potentially adopting a dog who was rescued from the U.S. Virgin Islands and somehow found his way to Missouri, to St. Louis. I have no idea how that happened, but he's about Piper's size. The dog that I recently lost back in November, I guess it was. And kind of looks a little bit like Piper. So should be an easy transition for Dobby. We have to let them meet and see how it goes. Obviously, if there's a dominance issue between the two, if this dog winds up trying to put Dobby in his place, that's not acceptable to me. But apart from that, yeah, may have another dog coming. Where was I? Staycation. Yeah, staycations aren't for me. I just want to watching a bunch of movies. Anyway, getting back to that list. Leave the World Behind, which was a real surprise to me. It just popped up. I want to say that it's on Netflix, and it was, I don't even know what prompted me to watch it. It's just really good. So if you're looking, just watch a trailer for it if it's not your thing, or just go into it blind. I don't want to say too much about what it's about. But yeah, really cool. Also rewatched Godzilla -1. And then I watched the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises. Then Hitman. That was good. Land of Bad. The new Hitman, by the way. Yeah, the new Hitman, not the... I'm trying to remember the name of the guy that was in it, but it's the guy that played one of the pilots in... the actor that played one of the pilots in the new Top Gun movie is the main character in that one. And it was just really... It was not what I expected, and I thought it was really enjoyable. A movie called Land of Bad, starring Liam Hemsworth. I watched this specifically because I wanted to check out Hemsworth's performance, because he's going to be the new Witcher. He's going to be Geralt of Rivia in the next 2 seasons of The Witcher. So I wanted to see how he'd progressed, how he had matured as an actor, and you know, he might do okay. I rewatched Dragon Slayer, didn't hold up. Bone Tomahawk, for whatever reason I hadn't seen. Very fun, very quirky, cool film. Alien Romulus, obviously. The Batman. Joker, and Ghostbusters Afterlife. Those are the movies that I watched this week. Yeah, next time I take a vacation, I'm definitely going to have to go somewhere. Because I'm really good at staying home. But I do that all the time. So, yeah. Fortunately, Sideshow's very generous with vacation time, so I should be able to do that sooner rather than later. Yeah, that would be something. Thanks, man. Do I think we'll get a Hoth, Luke, Han, and Wampa from Hot Toys? In order, yes, yes, and maybe. I think it's a matter of when, not if, when it comes to Luke and Han. The Wampa... Considering they've already done the furry thing with Chewie, it's possible. It would be expensive. It would be really expensive. And at that price, I'm not sure that it would attract a lot of buyers. Diehards with means, diehards of means, would definitely pick it up. But I don't see thousands of people parting, especially in this economy, parting with the change necessary to pick up a 6-scale Wampa. I'm not even aware of how tall the Wampa is supposed to be, but it's got to be at least Thanos sized, right? Yeah, so with all that fur, allowing for production issues, and planning on potential returns, yeah, you're looking at over $500 for a figure, easily. So I don't see it happening. Oh, there's no doubt. Again, I want to redo it. I'm so unhappy with my choice of using the fist. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit, and I'm disappointed in myself for not catching it. I'm noticing that my voice is out of shape. My voice is already dying, not... What is it? I am now... How many minutes into this live stream? 45 minutes into this live stream, and I'm already feeling hoarse. Oh! Yeah, okay. Got it. You know, I don't share the hate for Rebel Moon. I don't. I found a lot to enjoy about it. I've actually had thoughts today that about doing a shirt and selling it on the site. I'm going to open a store eventually. I have nothing to lose by doing so, and potentially $3 or $4 to gain. But yeah, one of the shirts that I want to develop is one that says "Maybe the problem is you," which is kind of my position when it comes to knee-jerk responses from fan. I'm not calling this a knee-jerk response, but yeah, I feel like, and this is a thought that that intrudes on my thought process when I think about my visceral reactions to a show or to a film. My camera's off center. There we go. And just take for example, I recently got a private message from a friend who had watched Acolyte for the first time and said something to the effect of, I think maybe my expectations were too high, which is a turn of phrase that I abhor. I think it's such an, I don't want to say arrogant turn of phrase, but when you're saying my expectations were too high and that's why I didn't like this show, you're somehow asserting that you're an authority on what the thing should be. And I think we should avoid that at all costs. I know what people are trying to say when they say my expectations were too high, but it can be misinterpreted. So be careful when you say that. Hey, welcome. Surprised you're still up. Oh, I guess it's not too bad. Yeah, saw it, loved it. Talked about it earlier in the show. No, I do not. I do not. I don't think Hot Toys cares one whiff about D&D. And by that I do mean the people in charge of making such decisions. I don't think they care about D&D. Yeah, but that would drive the cost up even higher. Definitely got to turn that one down. No, I have not played a full rosewood. Is that a new thing? Because I have played a Strat with a rosewood neck, but not full rosewood. It's been a rosewood fretboard with a maple neck. So yeah, I'm not even aware of that. That's new to me. Yeah, I can bring that up. Yeah, but this one is a little dirty. Yeah, some sweat stain down there, I think. Yummy. But yeah, this is an American Strat SSS configuration. It's got the noiseless single coils, which when I bought it, one of my guitar snob friends was just like, with the noiseless, and I get it, but you can turn it off. So, but yeah, full maple, heavy as fuck, but I dig that. American made. So, but yeah, I haven't played this one in a while, and I actually just dragged it out this morning. It feels good. It plays nice. I just love the way my hands feel on the fretboard. Probably my current favorite fretboard on my guitars. Really not feeling that one today. Yeah, that might be my favorite guitar in general right now. I mean, typically it's the my favorite guitar, if you ask me, would be the Ibanez, the S-Series Ibanez. But something's up with that one. The sound is just too beefy, too bass heavy, and I just can't. I think that it might be a problem with my amplifier. I think I need to replace the tubes in my amp. It is quite old. I want to say it's a 10-year-old amp, and I don't think the tubes have ever been replaced. Certainly not by me. Thanks, man. Maybe. I'll get around to it. Yeah, no, and that's yeah, and I know that there's a audience for that, but it's like one of the things that I can't get behind is sexy, scantily clad female characters in my collection. Emma Frost notwithstanding, but that was just yeah. I mean, it's the White Queen, and I think when I got it, I still had that triangle between Jean, Scott, and Emma in my head, and it was just kind of nice to have the three of them front and center right there. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel creepy having statues of scantily clad women or 6-scale figures of scantily clad women in my home. Yeah, it just doesn't feel right to me. Let's see. So yeah, pretty new thing. I can't even imagine what that sounds like, what that feels like. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. Anything can happen in the next year financially. So if my finances bounce back, maybe I'll get brave enough to walk into a guitar shop. Oh, God. I am not a good guitar player. I am not a good guitar player. I do not deserve the guitars that I have. I really should have stuck with just the, the Epiphone Les Paul that I bought. That was the first guitar that I bought when this midlife crisis began. Yeah, it's, yeah. Right? Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm not drawn to shirtless Wolverine. I'm just like, he just kind of like dances in and out of my vision, and I'm like, okay, yeah, good work, Hugh. Gotta wonder how much of that was in post. I don't know. Either way, yeah. Maybe that's not where you're implying, but for some reason that's where my head went, which probably says more about me than it does about you. Again, maybe the problem is me, but yeah, I guess they could be hot and full studded leather armor. I don't know. It's not on my radar. Anyway, let's pose a figure. Let's see here. 1151. Yeah, I want to make this happen as quickly as possible. This figure, to my knowledge, is brand new. So let's just go ahead and scooch my arse over. I gotta clean this room, guys. Jesus. I still have here the wow. That's filthy. It's got residue of museum putty all over it, which you thankfully mostly can't see. And it also has a whole lot of dust on it because I haven't done anything with this table in a week. Yay! Alright, all the way down. That's cool. Let's get him over. So for the unboxing portion of this video, for those of you who are just tuning in to watch this because I put down that there's an unboxing of it, yeah, it's very... Paul Sun-Hyun Lee talks about his unboxing videos being half-assed. I feel like my previous unboxing videos were probably better. And I think that he felt that way too. He was very public about it. But since I transitioned to live streamings, my Paul Sun-Hyun Lee leaves me in the dust when it comes to his live streams, his unboxings. Anyway, so you've got this amazing cover, this slip cover over the box itself, with the Avengers logo obviously being the dominant graphic right there, working hand in hand with the profile of Thanos. It's anyone's guess as to whether this is a photograph of the figure or if it's imagery of Thanos from the film or whatever, because this figure looks really, really good. Again, I have one over here, so I already know what it looks like. But just to spin this around so everybody gets a good look at this. Yeah, loving all the... My vocabulary is failing me here, but I'm just loving everything about this overall. Super slick, got some reflective elements, very subtle reflective elements going on in the borders of the Avengers logo. But apart from that, it's all pretty much straightforward. Removing that gives you your first glimpse. If you can get it off. There we go. All right. And there's Thanos in his box. Got that nice solid window. Let's go ahead and show off. You've got a gold foil. No, it's not embossed. It's just flat, like a print on there of the Avengers logo down here and the Infinity Gauntlet logo up here. I'll try to catch that in the light. Avengers A in the back. Shattered Avengers logo on the back. Looks like is it turning to dust? Might be turning to dust. Keith Lee, you're right. I should have had coffee or tea, and I should have had it in my Thanos was right mug. But I don't. I didn't. Whatever. And that's pretty much straightforward. You got Thanos on the top. So nothing really to write home about there. Let's go ahead and pop this out. Huh. This box has been opened by none other than Guy Clender. All right, slide that off. Okay, 2 trays. So let's go ahead and pop one tray off, and now I'm in the process. the early stages of developing another live stream studio environment in the photo studio. It's a lot of work to be done and a lot of money to be invested in it. So it's going to be a slow process, but I think it'll be ready by the end of the year, but if so, only just. And what that will enable me to do is to do live streams with an overhead camera. I can't do that here. There's just no room for me to mount it. There's no place for me to mount it without... I know they have those tabletop mounts, but they're so freaking annoyingly intrusive. Anyway, so that's something that I hope happens by the end of the year. I'm going to need to take down all the shelves that I have on the wall in there now. I'm going to need to replace them with... it's going to be a full-on setup. It's going to be... multiple shelves that also contain my record collection. My turntable and stereo will be in there. My vintage Marantz stereo system will be in there, and also several helmets and 6-scale figures and everything like that will be on display. Somehow trying to figure out a way to get them all in there. Also trying to figure out a place to put the tumbler, but I don't think that's going to fit. I think that's going to have to remain in the living room. Look at this sword. That's pretty sweet. I'm digging the weathering, as always. This is my first time really looking closely at this thing in so long. You've got this leather-like grip, painted up to look like leather wraps in the middle there. It almost looks like it could break down, like collapse in on itself, and which is something that happens, I think, a lot in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm looking at you, Hawkeye, and your sword. But yeah, look at that weathering. It's just, it looks slightly degraded or just battle worn. I don't know which. But very, very cool. We're definitely going to figure out a way to incorporate this into the pose. And now that I've got that off, I think that's the only thing. Yeah, that's the only thing resting in the top tray. Whole lot of foam covering these hands. Whole lot of plastic. Let's pop that off. All right. Whole lot of plastic. So, for people for whom it's important to see the layout in the tray, I'm going to hope that nothing collapses. And I try not to take it more than 45 degrees because that does encourage a collapse. But look at all those hands. And that tells you right there that you're going to get a lot of what this figure is going to do insofar as presentation is concerned is going to come from those hands, the expressive gestures of the hands and whatnot. And also of the face, because you do have that extra portrait of Thanos where he's got the scowling look on his face. Now, I really, really am annoyed by the fact that I don't have that awesome portrait from the battle damage version where he's got that look of like, oh no, on his face. And I would really, really love to see that. But you do get this cool grimacing portrait, which I think also, if I'm not mistaken, also came with the Infinity War version. You can tell by the slight tremor in my hands that I have indeed had coffee today. So Keith, if you were wondering, yes, I have had coffee today. Just get a little profile on that. Man, it's just so cool. I'm just checking to see if the color is showing properly because the light is a little bit hot from that distance. Let's get the helmet up there. This is separate and can be placed on either one of the included head sculpts. But again, sweet patina going on with the gold, marred by that by the occasional breakup of the weathering, which I really dig. It's just such a menacing helmet and a nice homage, a nice shift from the comic accurate version, which I'm looking at over here, to something more real world. And of course the Infinity Gauntlet, which has some plastic over it. Okay, see the Infinity Gauntlet actually comes with a little clear ball joint on which it rotates, and there is a battery compartment in here in which you can place these 3 included button cells, which I may or may not include. Oh man, if ever a figure needed to have a USB connector, right? Definitely this one. Now I'm going to pause really quick while I check out these comments. Keith is asking if it's the battle damage version. That question already answered itself. And there is definitely, there is a definite market out there. And I'm not here to shame anybody. Just for me personally, it doesn't work with my aesthetic. I don't want it in my house. Oh, there you go. Would not have been nearly as interesting. But yeah, you're right. Did I miss any? Good. Yeah, that's with all things, right? I mean, the sacrifices have to be made. Trying to decide which hand. Oh, yeah, if I'm going to be doing this, I might as well just swap this out now. But the way that I plan on posing him, he's going to have the open hand, which has articulated digits. Let's go ahead and drop that onto the gauntlet right now. So here's the gauntlet with the open hands. You can see all the Infinity Stones properly. They will light up. I don't know. My memory of them is that they don't light up all that terribly bright. Let's get rid of Keith's comment here. But that really, see how that paint just reacts really well with the light? That's just it. I mean, Hot Toys is so good with that. With their ability to create things. They go for screen accurate, but only in that the original props react in a certain way with the light and photography. They definitely have an eye for that for the photography of the figure. And I used to think they were just doing that for photographers, but okay. Hopefully this is not a flaw with the figure. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a solid. Hot Toys has started doing this thing with these plastic elements that they insert between the feet and the feet and the hands and their respective appendages, where these plastic bits, they no longer wrap them all the way around. It's no longer solid. There's a break, a split down the middle of the plastic. Let's get this where I can actually focus on it. There's a split in the plastic now, so that you can actually remove it without pulling off the foot or the hand, which I welcome. Because having to do that, it just creates more wear and tear on the joint, and I'm not comfortable doing that. Fuck. See? Excuse me. Got it. Okay. I've legitimately, I think as a whole, you're right. But I feel like Endgame has moments in it that elevate it to higher levels than Infinity War does. I mean, Infinity War has its moments. When Thor shows up, dude, I get chills. Spoiler alert. Let's see. I'm just checking this to make sure that it's on all the way. And it is. This one, the right foot is being problematic. And I'm wondering what's going on. Because I just can't get that back on the ball joint all the way. There, did it. Cool. Just needed some elbow grease. And now he's got a lean. I hope I didn't break anything. Alright, let's take that hand off and replace it with the gauntlet. Oh, here's my question. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I got ahead of myself here. So I'm just going to set Thanos down. And I'm going to drag out the hands that I need. I'm going to need the right hand for holding the sword. And potentially the gesturing hand. Because I'm not sure if I'm going to... For the photo... I'm torn between having him holding the sword and having him just with his hand and the gauntlet all lit up. Let's go ahead and go back to this. Oh, that wouldn't surprise me at all, Christopher. It would not surprise me at all. One thing I'm out of practice. Ventress rocks. What's up? I totally agree with that sentiment. And yeah, if it's your first 6 scale figure that's larger than a human by proportion, then yeah, it can really leave an impression. Helmet or no helmet? Okay. Definitely don't want the glaring face. I'm just gonna set that aside. Break out the stand because, as we've seen already, I think I'm going to need the help of that stand to support the figure while I'm posing it. Put the posing in imposing. I think I'm clever, but I'm not. And does that statement contradict myself? Probably. Nice and sturdy base. Lift that up. Okay, let's get this other plastic bit off of him. So far, I'm detecting no flaws in my Thanos figure. I'm just gonna go ahead and swap out the hand. I'm gonna regret doing that later. All right, so plastic free, right? No more plastic. Let's pop this guy off. There we go. That's how that works. The forearm, the gauntlet, or the vambrace rather, is held in place in the forearm by a ball joint. Once you pull that off, you can replace it with the Infinity Gauntlet using the hand. Swap out hand of your choice there. I'm not going to do the lights. It's nothing I hate more than disappointing people with a light up feature, and I can't remember how bright this one is. So, so there are other paths that you can go to look at that. And I'm not offended by people who look at other channels. I should probably just pull my hair back because it keeps getting in my face. What's this? Feels like something's missing there. Hang on. Nope, just my imagination. There are a couple little gaps in the armor here. In this area right here, you can see those little holes there, and I was just like, is it missing something there? Was something supposed to go there? But no, at least, and if there was, then it's missing from my other version of this figure too. My other copy of this figure. All right. Now, these things pop out, which may become important later. See, they're magnetized, the shoulder armor. Because of that, that allows you to, otherwise you'd be limited to like that for a lateral arm raise. But when you take this out, you can then lift it like one higher. But it gives you a little bit more wiggle room, and then you can either plug it back in if there's room to do so, or you can leave it out, and nobody would really notice because that armor would go up underneath the shoulder armor there. The shoulder armor would go up underneath the pauldron. Yeah, that's what it is. So let me just leave that there for now while I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is that I want to do. Let's see. This will inform. Okay, helmet on, and you can still look up quite a bit with the helmet on. That's good. It's not up that far, but it doesn't need to be. Let me just check this out here. Okay. Decision time. I'm trying to remember the name of the Rosetta painting that I was referencing when I did this, and it's escaping my mind. But very specifically, I'll go ahead and call that image up yet again. Hopefully it's still open. I didn't close it out. Share screen. Window. Yeah. So you can see there that that his legs are very, very close together. He's not. There's no exaggeration to this pose. It's very simple. He's just got his. He's finally achieved everything that he had to achieve by acquiring all these Infinity Stones. And again, when we saw it in the film, that moment was very bittersweet for him. Yeah, like that conversation that he had with young Gamora, aka young Ahsoka Tano, in which she asks him, what did it cost? And he says, everything. He replies, everything. And I've wanted that pose to reflect that, and I think that it does here. But the question is, do I want to replicate that here, or do I want to go all comic book badass? Because I think that the costume, the outfit, the fact that he's stripped of all of his armor, he's very vulnerable. I think that contributes to what makes this image, to me, what makes this image interesting. So, but when he has all of his armor up, that's when, that's what raises the question, should that be what I'm going for with this one? I just noticed that his armor was sliding down. So I think I'm gonna go different. We've seen this one, we've seen this pose. I've done it. So I'm gonna do it differently this time. First of all, let's pop this arm off again and do his sword. Let's just get that going on right now. Important tip. You might be tempted to put it in this way. There is no really wrong way to do it, but I feel like when you're, even with a double-bladed sword like this, you need to have the blade pointing in the same direction as the knuckles. Oh, this is a good point. Yeah, that's a good point, because, I mean, just look at what he did when he invaded our timeline at the end of Endgame. The first thing he did was take his helmet off, shove his sword in the ground, sit down, and wait. So this, I reserve the right to modify this pose as it progresses, and the limitations of the figure might dictate that. Okay, but for now, I'm just gonna leave this as it is. Let's start out by doing it just like by posing it just like the one that I just showed everybody. So we got to get the feet together, but they need to be asymmetrical. So yeah, he's standing up straight, but the feet have to be somewhat apart. Get rid of that. Which is kind of dictated by the nature of the figure. You can't get the legs completely together, it just won't happen. But you need to part those feet a little bit, and you shouldn't do it symmetrically. So I have the feet pointing, this foot, the right foot pointing a little bit to the right, and the left foot pointing even a little bit further to the left. And I also have the hips sticking out. Fortunately, I didn't have to do that. And it's something that actually happened by accident, but like here's the figure with the hips straight, but I'm shoving it, I'm holding the feet here, and I'm pushing this way so that it kind of gives him a little bit of asymmetry. And then I'm going to continue that asymmetry by twisting the torso ever so slightly to his right, your left. So it's looking like that. Behave, helmet. And then, how far over can we get this helmet? Yeah, all right, I'm digging that. What I am not digging is how parallel this sword is to the ground. So I'm going to adjust that a bit. Give him a little bit more arch to the back, although not much, because when you arch this figure's back too much, then it just becomes... Oh, there's a word for it. I'm going to take this out while I pose up this arm. Ah, yeah, I was worried about that. Gonna want to look at the... Yeah, it looks like you can get more articulation. Obviously, you can get more articulation out of the unarmored version of Thanos than you can out of this one. Which, does that even make sense? Yeah. So I'm compensating by shifting his torso back and twisting it even more. And one thing you have to be careful of is when you're doing that, when you're messing with this torso twisting, then you're exposing that undersuit a lot, which I kind of don't dig, but it may be necessary. Let me see if I can shift that by rotating the leg and then rotating the foot and lower leg armor to compensate for that a little bit, just to hide a little bit more of that suit. And then let's bring this in, because I really do want him looking right at the gauntlet. Will this fit back here now? Yes, it will. Awesome. Sorry, I'm just trying to align this better. So that's a good start. Not done. Rotate. Yeah, this is going to be tough, y'all. Yeah, that armor does change everything. Yeah, because while I was trying to cheat by tilting his torso back, that also moves his head further out of alignment, so the ratio of the head to the hand stays the same. It doesn't alter. So the head is just as much of a problem. The inability to articulate the head because of this armor up here is just as much of a problem as the inability to articulate the arm up to the head level. But that's got it. That's got it. That's mostly in line. Yeah, that's got it. Because while some people won't be able to look at this, some people will look at this and not be able to tell that he's not looking at the gauntlet. But I can. And that's really what's important. I'll know. If I cheat it, I'll know. And cheating can sometimes work when you're talking about photography, but if you want it on display, eventually somebody's going to look at that and be like, yeah, well, what's he looking at over the top of the gauntlet? Okay. Now, I know that I brought this up on the channel before, but I've probably brought it up in How to Be a Poser or similar posing shows, but I feel like the key to posing a hand lies in just using your own hand for reference. And when your hand is just resting like this, notice how my hand, the digits are bent ever so slightly more the further, like index finger, from index finger all the way out to little finger, they're bent ever so slightly more when they're just relaxed. Your hand doesn't naturally relax like that. It kind of curls a little bit more the further away from the index finger that the fingers get. So just try to replicate that in your pose. And just do whatever you can to try to get all that into alignment. God, it's so hard. There we go. And by hard, I do mean difficult, Keith. Man. I can hear your thoughts from 30 miles away. What is it, 20, 30 miles away? Something like that. I'm pretty sure he has no neck movement. Yeah, there is no neck movement. All right, it's a solid piece there. And I don't have the Infinity War version here to confirm, but it's the same figure with different outfit. All right, so tilt that back just a little bit more, give it a little bit more arch to that. Bring that foot out a little bit more, because that just looked unnatural. There we go. Bring that arm back some more, out some more. Now let's look at that and see if that is a Thanos posture all the way around. And I'm kind of feeling like it is. So there it is. Boom. Now, variations on this. Can always count on you. Oh, that's hilarious. I get that. I'm not a wrestling fan, but and yet I totally get that. Let's go ahead and rotate this. I don't think that's properly aligned, but I could be wrong. I'm no Thanos costume expert. Just adjusting that arm. While the shoulders will shrug, we'll press and row. If you have the shoulder back too far, it does expose the gap between the torso and the chest, between the between the deltoids and the chest, which isn't desirable. Just try to minimize that as much as possible. Actually, I'm pretty fine with that. I think if I had... Let's see, bring this out some more. No. I was going to try to, make this motion and bring the arm out a little bit more and rotate it in, but I don't think that'll work. Yeah. Not a lot of rotation in that arm. Yeah. And again, now that I've moved it, he's again looking at looking above the gauntlet instead of at it. Again, this pose is a lot easier to pull off with the Infinity War version. So if you have the Infinity War version of this figure and think that this is something you might want to attempt, you'll have a lot easier of a time doing so with that than you would with this. This figure may lend itself more towards a more action-oriented pose or a more dramatic, if you spread his legs wide, just go ahead and do it. And then bring him down, pop that. That might lend itself a little bit more to your liking, and that does work as well. And you can take that even further if you wanted to. But again, I think that for my purposes, I do like that more neutral stance. Again, he's not beset by any odds, by any enemies right now. He's got everything. He doesn't need to be badass. He doesn't need to look badass. He doesn't need to have a badass posture. He doesn't need to look intimidating because he's got it all right here. Just straightening those legs even more. Maybe cock that one a little bit. No, straighten that one. Cock that one. Yeah. I've lost the stand. There we go. Yeah, and that's it. Boom. And I'm probably going to, because I'm me, I'm going to tweak this more. Probably even throughout the course of today. But I think that's pretty much where I want it to be. Oh, that's wisdom right there. Hey, Desmond, I didn't even know you were here today. Good to see you. Oh, that's not even on. That's not even on. I haven't turned them on at all, and I'm not going to. Again, you have to just... I don't deal well with batteries. They don't last. I'm a big fan of the decision to move forward with more USB powered light up features. That's something I can see myself using in a display. But when it comes to batteries, 99 times out of 100, that might be like 94 times out of 100, I won't even bother putting the batteries in my personal figures because I know that they're only going to be used in a photography situation, and most of my figures I don't even wind up photographing. So what's the point? They're just going to burn out really, really quickly if you leave them on. And in a lot of cases, accessing the switches to activate or deactivate, I'm looking at you Iron Man figures, to activate or deactivate the light up features, it's so time consuming and such a pain in the ass that I just don't want to bother with it. So I don't even put the batteries in. In fact, I'm more inclined these days when doing a photograph to just use Photoshop to imitate the light up features. I mean, it would be one thing if I was photographing for a figure review, then yeah, I would plug in the batteries and activate the light up features just to show what they're capable of. But in the case of just personal display, don't even bother. Now this is an exception. Obviously. It's for the Thanos on throne maquette by Sideshow. Autographed by the creative team that created Thanos. And by that I do mean Jim Starlin and Joe Rubinstein and the late great George Perez. No. I think that that's probably to do with two things. I think that that's probably an illusion created by the poor angle of the camera as well as the angle of the table. It's pretty sturdy. Oh, but you're right. He does lean forward. There we go. There we go. All right. And that's it, guys. That's my show for today. Hour and a half. Wow, that's actually longer than I anticipated. Let's check these comments really quick before I go. Yeah, I think that's I think this is probably a good one for that. Again, I think that it works better with the other figure, but now that, at least now I know that it can be done with this figure, and I will probably wind up doing a I will probably wind up redoing it, this photo, using this figure. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how long this this break that I got from doing 6-scale stuff lasts. If I'm still feeling passionate about it by the end of the week. This gauntlet does indeed have the stones in it. Can confirm. Yes. And when I do the photo, I'm going to light them up just as I did in this image using Photoshop. And I'll probably go overboard with the effects as I've done here too. I don't know. That took a long time to light that. There's multiple layers on each stone. And it was a huge file by the time it was done. Fair shout out to everybody out there. If anybody comments on something and calls it crap, I'm not going to share that comment. Better ways to say it. Dude. Yeah. Especially with the magnets in the head, right? It can be a real challenge. What was the last... I'm trying to remember the last Iron Man figure that I did. I want to say it was the red and chrome version. The red and chrome version I haven't done yet. I started on it and then I got interrupted by other things. So that's still coming. Hopefully by the end of the week. But whatever the most recent one that I did... I could have used another set of hands here. Those batteries were strong, and they were pulling those magnets right out of the beds. Yeah, we talk about that. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, it's nice to have. It's a fun little gimmick, but ultimately it doesn't last long enough to make it worthwhile. The frustration you have to go through in order to, and some of them are just not right out of the gate. They don't function properly. It's frustrating. I don't know what that means. Thanks again. Good luck. Hope the new pup works out. Yeah, me too, man. I got to be honest, my enthusiasm has waned a little bit. They're being really, really careful with this one. And I know that I get that they just want the dog to have the best human to interact with. But I know that for this organization that I'm working with will offer one free training course scenario, 1 hour's worth of training or something like that for every dog that gets adopted. For this one, they're offering 3. I'm not sure what that says about the dog. And again, I have grave concerns concerning my his relationship with Dobby. I don't want Dobby's comfort level in the home to be affected by this dog at all. And at the first hint that I get of that, I will back away from this adoption. So I'm glad that initially they didn't want Dobby to meet. His name is Louis, but his new name is going to be Chewy, obviously. They didn't want Dobby to meet Louis in the first visit, but now they're saying that they do. And that's good. I want to know right away if there's going to be a problem. So, but thank you for that. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Hope you got some benefit out of this show. It's good to be back. Good to see you all. And until next time, be good to your plastic.